Hi and welcome to Homo Ludens, the channel on history and board games. I almost forgot to press the go live button, and I was looking at the countdown, and I realized that we were pretty close to just doing the countdown. So probably people only saw the last 2 seconds of the countdown. But super excited to be here this evening to play a game of Freedom, a game that was released by Phalanx. I don't remember when was the first printing, Vangelis. Was it in 2020?
2020, yes.
2020. And as we usually do here, we have the pleasure of having with us the designer of this game, Vangelis. So thanks a lot for being here with us. And I have
Nice being with you.
my regular opponent, Joe Klein, also my youngest Joe of all the Joes of my collection of Joes, to be my opponent for the day. So really excited about this one because it's a siege game. Siege games are pretty hard to do, I would say, and we don't have that many. Siege of Vienna, released earlier this year, was pretty awesome, but I played this one I think a year ago with James for Phalanx, and I thought it was really exciting. And because there is a new version of this game that is being released, we thought it would be a great opportunity to actually showcase it on the channel and show to people how it's actually being played. But before we start playing the game, I would like to thank everyone who's watching here in the stream. And I see that there are a few people already there. Hey, Jeffrey. Well, it's really nice to get a gift like this from Stukajo, and I hope that this video will actually help you get this game on the table. Stuart is always here, so that's nice. Stuart is always ready for a good siege game, as we all are. And Scott is here. Good evening, Scott. Thanks for joining us. But before we start playing the game, maybe Vangelis, could you maybe tell us a bit about yourself? What do you do outside of designing, and when did you start to get into game design?
So, actually, I am a full-time game designer right now, and I work for Hegemonic Project Games. I'm their head of design and development. Uh, I've been designing games for about 12 years now, 12, 13 years, something like that. Before starting work as a full-time designer, I worked in the IT industry in a software company as a business analyst. And at some point, uh, I loved game design. I wanted to design more games, but there was no free time because the family was growing. It was hard to find free time at home. So I made the big step of leaving my old job and working as a game designer. So initially I was working for Artipia Games. I was also doing some freelancing. And currently, as I said, I'm in Hegemonic Project Games, and so full-time designer.
Great, and just maybe for the viewers here who don't know, what are the games that you're recently worked on?
So the latest game on which I worked is Hegemony, Lead Your Class to Victory. This was on Kickstarter about a year and a half ago. It was delivered to backers this spring. And beyond that, there are various games with various companies that I've worked on. Freedom is an example. I've also done the Dungeon Scrollers, the Dungeon Scrollers Heroes of Wonder Mountain with WizKids. Some other games with Artipia Games, like Among the Stars, Fields of Green, Dice City, and I've also worked on Pursuit of Happiness and Kitchen Rush. So outside of Greece, these are the most well-known games of mine.
And that's quite a range of different types of game. What made you want to design specifically this game on history? So the game that we're going to play today, Freedom, because it's pretty different from your other designs. What was the core motivation behind it?
So Freedom was sort of a passion project, if you like. It was, as you said, normally the games I had designed up to that point were very different. But I happened to watch child's play, children plus play, for during a day that we were celebrating our Independence Day. It's on 25th of March. So that play was about the city of Messolonghi, and so this is a very famous event in Greek history. Everybody knows about this. So while I was watching the play, it was mentioned that a very famous hero of our War of Independence was planning to visit the city of Messolonghi and help with in the final days, but he fell sick and he didn't do it. He didn't manage to make it. And in my mind at that point, it was like someone had just played the card that said, okay, Karaiskakis, this hero, falls ill, so you can't have him in the game. And that's when it dawned on me that this could make a great game. You had two parties involved, the Ottomans that were besieging the city. You had the Greeks inside the city that were trying to defend it. The outcome was really, really close while it ended up with the Ottomans winning. They had their leader, Ibrahim Pasha, had said that if it was like a couple of weeks more, they would have left as well, because their morale was also very low. They couldn't sustain the army any longer because their army was a mercenary one, mostly. So it was very hard for the besiegers as well. But in the end, it was harder for the ones inside the city who, after many months, could no longer deal with the hunger and the diseases and everything else going on inside the city. Their morale, however, was very high, despite everything they were going through, and they didn't want to surrender, so they decided to do a sortie, to leave in the middle of the night. Everyone in the city leaving and heading for the mountains. But their plan was betrayed, and the Ottomans on the outside were expecting them, and what followed was a massacre, and many people were killed. However, even though technically one could count this as a loss for the Greeks, it played a big part in the grand scope of the war, because many people outside of Greece heard about this event, heard about the massacre that happened, and they took the side of the Greeks and decided to help. And this really turned the tide in the war and helped Greece win the war in the end and claim its independence. So that's why it's one of the most iconic battles, let's say, that took place during this war.
And when you work as a Greek on a topic like this that feels really close and is really emblematic of your own history, how do you approach research and design to make sure that you give the history itself like a fair shake, like in a sense, like how do you make it feel balanced, but also to make sure that you are not introducing too much of your own bias or perspective in a game like this? How did you approach that? How did you grapple with this?
So for this game, as I said, the inspiration was a play that I saw. So I went to the guy who wrote the play, and I asked him if he could help me with the research for the game. And he actually read everything that there was to read about this event. He found books, in old libraries, old magazines, everything that had been written. He went over it, and we discussed a lot about what happened. And our point was never to make it like, we are the super good guys and they are the very bad guys, and look how glorious everything is on our side. We wanted to show how things actually were, and that's why we also included events that were, let's say, bad for the Greeks, because there was also intrigue within the Greek side, within the city. There was also some intrigue. There were, disputes. There were some leaders who decided to leave and like abandon the cause. So you had events like that, which were not very proud of, let's say. But on the other hand, these made good events for the Ottoman side. So because the main concern was for the game to actually be balanced, so we took those events and applied them to the Ottoman side. There were bonuses and allowed for things to happen that benefited the besiegers. So we tried to find as much as we could from both sides. We even tried to find some sources from Turkish, books or references. There were not that many, because for the Ottoman Empire's point of view, this was not as significant as it was for our side. So we actually did try to find sources from there as well. In the end, most of our sources were from Greek scholars and Greek books, but we included everything that we found, regardless if it was, painting the Greek side in a good way or in a bad way, because we wanted to make it historically accurate and also to make it balanced and have both sides to have an equal chance of winning.
Great. But thanks, Vangelis. I think we'll have the opportunity to keep discussing about the history when we play. What I'm going to do now is bring the game on stream. So for those who are wondering, we're going to be using the TTS module right now. And Joe, you found the TTS module, and it's an easily accessible TTS module, right? Joe? Can you hear us? Can you speak?
I'm here. Sorry. Yep, you can just find it on the workshop. Just search Freedom. It's the first.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
There's two actually, but figure out which one's better for you. Depends.
Do you know what are the differences between the two that you could find?
Resolution, I think, on the actual board. I think this is the second one that comes up when you search Freedom, and I found that the setup as well is a lot clearer with the resources being stored in bags and such, as opposed to all over the place. So this one seemed just a lot cleaner, and it has the PHALANX print on the actual board as well, which is a nice little extra bit of flavor, I think.
Yeah, which is very cute. I guess I'll need to ask for for a bit of money from PHALANX for featuring their logo during the whole stream. But great. So that's the overview of the board. Maybe Vangelis, do you want to tell us what we're looking at?
Okay. So as we said, this game is about the siege, and the siege took place outside the city of Messolonghi. So the board is divided into two parts. One shows the actual city, the fortifications around it, and the red cubes represent the Ottoman army coming to take the city. The blue cubes, on the other hand, they are the Greek fighters on top of the wall, the insurgents who want to defend the city and not let it fall in the enemy's hands. And you also have these white cubes in the middle that represent civilians, the citizens within the city that are also, trying to defend it. And on the top of the board, we have another map which shows the larger area surrounding Messolonghi. So this is the surrounding map, because both sides took advantage of the areas around Messolonghi to their benefit. So, for example, you have the sea, it was a way for the people inside of the city to get supplies during the siege. You have another city called Anatolikon, which was right next to Messolonghi and provided a lot of help. Some other locations represent like fortresses that the Ottomans had. Patra, for example, on the right side here, it was a city that was under the control of the Ottomans. It was a very big city, and its control was important. In Guria here, there were some storages for the Ottomans. They had some supplies there. So all these regions around the city played a part in the outcome of the siege. And this is also represented in the game. And you see these tokens, they are support tokens, and they represent which side controls these areas. And as you play, you try to remove the opponent's tokens. And when you do, you flip the token to your side, so you have control of it. And this will give you some bonuses. Exactly. So depending on who controls it, this is turned one side or the other. And based on who controls it, you get some bonuses every round, which can become quite important. There are also some tracks on the left and on the right side of the board, like here and here. This is the morale tracks. So morale was a very big factor in the outcome of this siege. So and we knew we needed to have it in the game, and so depending on how things are going, like if you're winning, small battles, if you're killing the enemy's units or not, you get to win morale or cause your opponent's morale to drop. And if you manage to drop your opponent's morale to 0, you immediately win the game. So this is actually one of the win conditions. If any side's morale drops to 0, the other side wins. So we also have this food track over here, which basically shows, depending on the population of the insurgents of the Greek side, they have to feed their people at the end of every round. So the more people you have, the more food you have to provide them, which is not an easy task when you're under siege. And as the game progresses, you may have like more civilians coming inside the city to defend themselves, or you get more fighters coming from the mountains to help you. As your, let's say, your population increases, so do the needs for your food. And this is tracked here in this part of the board. We also have the round track. We start in round 1. The game lasts a total of can last up to 6 rounds, and they are divided into 2 big ages. You have the first age, the first 3 rounds, and then you have the second 2 periods, first period and second period, and you use separate decks for those 2 periods. You have one deck of cards corresponding to the first period, and another deck of hand cards corresponding to events that happened later. Roughly, it's around corresponds to about 2 months in real time. So the siege began in April of 1825 and ended on April of 1826, 1 year later. So 6 rounds, every round is about 2 months. And there are also 2 smaller tracks, but we can talk about them later.
Yeah, sure. And I think we can probably, and that's the idea is to also do a bit of a rolling teach. Maybe you mentioned the different victory condition. Could we have like an overview of how we can win? So you said that there is the morale going down to 0 for one of the 2 factions. So that's one of the first thing. What are the different ways of winning?
So the Ottoman player, the imperial player, they're trying to get inside the city, and as you can see, there are 4 special locations on top of the wall, which are called forts. Now, if the imperial player manages to climb the walls, and at the end of the round has units in one of those 4 spaces, here, 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 or here, they win the game. Alternatively, they can try to enter the city through the lagoon. This was the sea, like a lake sort of surrounding the city, and but it's harder to navigate through that, and it's very well defended as well. If, however, they manage to walk through the lagoon and with units here in the beach, like in those areas, once again they manage to enter the city, so they win. If the imperial player doesn't do that until the end of the 6th round, the insurgents win. It means they lasted long enough, and the imperials will go away, and the city gets to survive. So these are mainly the win conditions. Either the imperials climb the walls and enter the city, or they drop their opponent's morale to 0. And for the Greeks, either they last until the end of the 6th round, or they drop the besiegers' morale to 0.
Okay, great. But I guess that's good enough to start. And then, as we usually do, it would be a rolling teach. So Joe and I will start playing, and we'll explain what we do while we do it. And Vangelis will explain the different actions. And I guess we start, each of us, with 7 cards in our hand.
So 8 cards.
8 cards.
8 cards in your...
So this is my hand, and I'm going to show to people the different cards. So I guess... yep. Red cards are imperial cards.
Yes. So the cards. I don't know. You can see some cards here.
Yeah.
So they are divided by the color. The red ones correspond to the imperial player, to the Ottomans, while the blue ones have events or people from the Greek side, from the insurgents. And there are also some neutral ones with a gray color, gray flag. So the concept is that every card represents an event that actually took place, or some personality, some person that took part in the siege, and it also has a number on the top left corner. So on your turn, you either play the card for its event, as long as it is a card that is on your side, or a neutral one. So either you play its event, or you discard the card and you gain action points equal to the number on the top left corner. And you can use these action points to perform any action that you want, as long as you can afford it. So usually the cards are more powerful than the action points they feature, but the effect is more specific. So you may want it, or you may not be of that much use to it, to you. So that's how the flow goes. So we start with the Ottoman side, and basically the side that has the highest morale goes first, and you go 1 card each player. Like, so the imperial player will go first, then the insurgent player, then the imperial again, and so on until you've both played 7 cards.
Yeah.
So you get to keep 1 card for the next round, and you play the remaining ones.
I have one question. Is it like Twilight Struggle, where you play a card and it triggers the event of your opponent, or once you play the card, it doesn't matter at all?
It's similar but different. So when you play an event that belongs to... You cannot play an event that belongs to your opponent. So if you are the imperial player, you cannot play a red card. If you're an imperial player, you cannot play a blue card. However, if you discard it and get the action points to perform other actions, your opponent has the chance to do that event on his immediate next turn. So if you play right now, if the insurgent player plays Yusuf Pasha, which is a red card, on the next turn of the imperial player, he can discard the card and do the event listed on the card. So it is not automatically done, but you give your opponent the opportunity to do it. The thing is that if they don't do it immediately on their next turn, they lose the chance to play that event. So it's actually part of your strategy when to play each card and when to force your opponent to do the event, or to make him ignore the event because he had other plans and you saw those plans. So it's part of the tactical way.
And to activate this event, the value point of the ups of the card don't matter. So if it was
you just discard the card.
Yeah,
you just discard the card and you do the event. And the thing to remember is that the card that you discard to do that event
becomes available.
Cannot be played then by your opponent. So this is also another way to get rid of an event that is very powerful for your opponent. You can it's actually the only way to get rid of it. If they play one of your events, you can discard that card to do your event, and they cannot, in response, discard the card for their event.
Okay. Well, I guess then it's so Joe is playing the imperial, so I guess that's gonna be you to play the first card.
So it's my go. I'm going to play. That's a good question, actually. I think I'll play this neutral card for the action points.
Yep.
I think I'm going to use it to do some normal movement. So how exactly does normal movement work?
So
that would be the normal movement for you. Yeah.
Yep,
okay.
For the imperial.
All right. So you get. I didn't get if you're playing the event or the action points. Sorry.
He's playing the action points, and he wants to spend the AP for normal movement.
So yeah, before we do that, we actually need to do another step, which is the opening. Now every round we start with the administration phase, which is done for the first round. For the first round, we skip it, but then we have the opening, and this allows you to move some of your units without playing a card. So first, the imperial player, you choose up to 5 units, and they have to be either in the mainland here or the camp, and you move them forward 1 space. You cannot do a slow movement this way, but we'll mention later what that is. And after you do, you move your 5 cubes. Then the insurgent player, they can make a single move. They can, we call it regroup. They can take one of the blue cubes and move it somewhere else. Note that the insurgent player, you cannot move in the mainland where the Ottoman units are. You can only move within the walls, the beach, and the 3 islands, the small islands in the lagoon. And the unit limit is 2 units per space for the imperial player, for the insurgent player, sorry, for the Greeks. You can have at most 2 units in each space, except for the islands when you can only have a single unit in each space.
So could I take this unit here and place it on the wall, or do you have a
yes, as part of the regroup, as part of the opening phase, you do 1 regroup, so you can take that and place it anywhere else you like.
Would putting it here be a good idea, you think?
Yes. So as we said, these 4 spaces on the wall, these are called forts, and each of them also has a cannon on it. And the space where you put your cube has a special cannon called Bombard, which was more powerful than the other ones. So it's a good move to place it there so you can defend it better in case the imperial player attacks. So the imperial player can now play the first turn. We move on to the actions phase. So you can now use those.
Play the card for 3 ops. And you wanted to do normal movement, Joe?
Yeah, so I'm going to do normal movement.
So with a normal movement, each action point allows you to move 2 spaces. You can either move a single unit twice or move 2 units 1 space. This is the normal movement.
And it's so you already mentioned the stacking limits for me is 3 units per space.
So, for the imperial player, it's the limit is 3 units in its space. For the insurgent, it was 2. Yes.
Once the imperial player goes to attack the wall, once they're on the wall, if they get to it, is it still 3 spaces? 3 cubes?
It becomes 2 because there are like more narrow footing, narrow space on top of the wall. So you respect the limit that's for the Greeks. You also respect it if you end up on the wall.
Okay. So I have used 1 action point of the 3 there to move. Now maybe it could be a good time to explain this preparation track. Why would I want to move up on this?
Okay, so each side has a preparation track which effectively allows you to store action points for future turns. And so if at any point you don't want to spend any more action points from those that you got from the card, you can store them using these, for example, like this in the preparation track. And this allows you in a future turn to use those points to perform an action that you otherwise would not be able to do it. Let's say, for example, you have an action that needs 4 action points to perform, and you only have cards that with 2 or 3 action points on them. If you had stored points from a previous turn, you could use the 2 or 3 points from the card you play and 1 from those in the preparation track. So it's effectively, it is storing action points for use in a future turn.
Okay. In that case, with my other 2 action points, I will support an area, which is the 4th thing I can do.
Okay, so as we said before, the surrounding area plays an important part in the outcome of the siege. And in each region, you have these markers, these tokens on top of it, that indicate how much control each side has in that region. So you can spend 2 action points and gain 1 support in one of those regions, which means you either, if you already control the area, you add another one of your tokens there. If you don't control the area, you remove one of your opponent's tokens.
So I just did
so
that,
you use those 2 points to remove 1 token from Anatole Kohn. If there are no tokens on the region tile, by gaining 1 support, you flip the tile to your side. So it can never be neutral. Either you control it or your opponent controls it.
Okay.
So if you remove the last one from your opponent, you flip it, and it
If you remove the last, diamond-shaped token, the tile itself, it's still color-coded. It's still blue, which means that the blue side controls it, the insurgents. And then you flip that tile if you gain another support there.
Okay, so I did that. That's my first turn done. You'll go, Fred.
And I think that was your first mistake. So I'm going to play this card for the event, and I'm going to play reinforcements. So to get 1 support in 2 areas, each controlled by different players. So I'm going to reinforce the first one that you just removed. So that's going to be 1. And the second one that I'm going to do is I'm going to remove 1 from here.
Okay.
Why are you always hating on my guys, you know? It can be peaceful, Fred. You know it's to be true.
It's going to be peaceful. They have famously peaceful siege. Yeah.
Coming in nice and slow. I'm going to. I'm going to play bonus fulfilling the moat for its event.
So during the actual siege, there was a moat surrounding the wall, and both sides would try to interact with that moat. You know, the Imperials would try to fill it with sand. They would bring many bags of sand, and they would throw that sand inside the moat to fill it, so their troops, their units, could walk over the moat and climb the wall.
Okay, so I got to move 1 unit from row 5, 1 from row 6, and 1 from row 7 to row 4.
Yes. So this allows you to move lots of units forward, and now you are in front of the wall, and this is from where you can attack the wall. You cannot attack it if you are further back. You need to be in front of the wall in order to attack the insurgent units with your own units.
Okay, so now that he's really close to me, I guess I have an option to attack him.
Exactly, right? Yes. So you can spend action points, like for a single action point is actually 1 attack, and you can use your own units that are in front of those 3 and attack them. Now, whenever you want to attack units, you roll a D8, 8-sided die, and the odds are different for each player. For the For the insurgents, you roll a single die, the blue one, and you hit on a roll of 6, 7, or 8. Because you shoot from the top of the wall, you have a better angle, you have better line of sight, so it's easier for you to hit. When the imperial player attacks, he only gets to score a hit if he rolls an 8. You score a hit with 6, 7, 8. But since he has each of his cubes represent many more units than you are. Your units are about 100 to 200 units per cube. His are about 500 units per cube. So that's why he rolls 2 dice, and he scores with, if either of them rolls an 8, it's a hit. So if you want to attack those 3 cubes, for each attack, you spend 1 action point and you hit with a roll of an 8.
Is there any dice modifiers?
So yes, for example, if the imperial player tries to attack the forts, they actually have a negative modifier. They need 1 more to hit it. Which is odd because it means that you would need a 9 in an 8-sided.
I'm regretting my decision now.
Right? But on the other hand, one of your actions that you have is called reward attacks. You can spend some of your money and actually give a bonus to. You actually promise a bonus to whoever gets to score hits. So by spending 1 action point and 1 of your money, you get a +2 bonus in all of your rolls within that turn, within the same turn. This is for the imperial player. And also, if your cannons get to damage the wall, each section of the wall can be either in normal condition, damaged, or destroyed. Regardless of everything else, you want to destroy the wall because that's the only way you can climb it. But even if you damage it, you get a bonus modifier. You get a +1 on your hit. So if you try to attack a damaged section of the wall, you score with both a 7 and an 8. And if you try to attack a destroyed section of the wall, you get to score on a 6 as well. So there are things that can modify it. And of course, a lot of the cards will give you a chance to attack with a +1 modifier or a +2 modifier or things like that.
Makes sense. Okay. Go on then, Fred. Do your worst.
Yeah, so going back to the attack. So I played a 2 AP card. And I want to, so I could fire with this unit and this unit on those guys?
Yes. The insurgent player, you can actually attack with the same unit multiple times within a turn. The Ottoman units can only attack each
unit.
Cube only once, yes.
And is there any benefit from having a cannon here when I attack?
No, the cannon only helps with during its own separate phase. We have a cannon's phase.
Good.
And
So then I'm going to roll, I guess I'm going to roll once first to see if I do a hit. So I need to roll 6 or higher?
Exactly, yes.
And that's a success.
Yay. So you remove one of the cubes.
Weighted the dice.
Where do you want me to throw it? I'm gonna put it here.
Is it removed from the game, or is it put back to the supply? Is there a difference?
So it goes on the side. This is the supply. The units you can use are the ones in your camp and the ones on the board. So every round during the replenishment phase, you're going to be getting more cubes, reinforcements, but they go to your camp, the corner of the board over here. Okay. So you can only use units that are here or within the map. The ones outside, they're not available to you yet. They haven't arrived yet.
Yeah. And I guess I'm gonna use 1 action point to attack again. Same. This guy is gonna attack here.
Sure.
My boys, no.
And he's safe. Good. So those were my 2 action points. So I'm done.
Amazing.
Yeah. So since you played an Imperial event, if the imperial player likes, if John likes, he can discard one of his cards to actually do the.
You don't have to. You don't have to tell him that, Vangelis. You could
just suggestion. Great suggestion.
You could just stay quiet. That's fine too.
Phenomenal suggestion. I'll just get rid of this terrible blue card.
Okay, so
I'll fire one of my cannons, and if successful, I get to remove one of Fred's disgusting blue units. And instead of damaging the wall like I would normally do when firing the cannons, and then I get to move an additional imperial unit from the camp straight up to the wall in front of where I fired from. So it's kind of like they force him through, I guess.
Yeah. So at some point they would even fire with rocks. Usually they had cannonballs they would fire against the city, but at some point they were even using rocks to attack, and those were not powerful enough to damage to do much damage, but they could do something. I mean, they could hurt people on the wall, so that's why they did it.
So how does a cannon fire?
Okay, so right now you have two cannons, the one here and the one here. Okay, so every cannon can fire in a diagonal arc, let's say. So let's assume you start with this cannon. The next row, you have these two spaces. The next row, you have these three spaces. And then you can attack any of those four. So imagine a cone like starting from your cannon. Yeah, a pyramid. So you can attack any of those four spaces. Now, you're 3 spaces away from them. So you need to roll a 6 on a 6-sided die. This is actually, if you look up on the side of the board, you see a 6 on this row, a 5 on this one, and a 4 on this one. So this is actually to remind people what they need to roll in order for the cannons to hit. So if you build a cannon closer to the wall, you have better odds at hitting it.
Yeah, but it costs more to build that, I see.
But it costs more to build it, yes. It's high risk, high reward.
So
now, you will roll 2 dice. You will roll 2 dice, and every 6 that you roll is a hit. So if both of them come, if you roll 6s, you score 2 hits.
Oh. Perfect. No, not perfect, actually. Very bad.
So you also need to point where exactly you attack before you roll the die.
But it was
cheating again. Yeah.
I should re-roll. I should do it again. I should do it again because I didn't point right.
You should actually get penalized of instant failure for the next one for cheating.
So you can also the card has another effect which allows you to move an imperial unit from the camp right in front of the wall, right where you attacked. Okay, that's great.
Yeah, just because otherwise Fred would complain that it's not where I shot. Well,
I guess I'm gonna play this card now. I'm gonna put this on top, and I'm gonna play it for the event. And I'm gonna increase my supply. Do you think is it a good idea to increase my supplies?
Yeah, you actually need supplies because at the end of every round you need to pay supplies to feed your people.
What's my situation supply wise right now?
So right now you should be here in you see that says 16 to 20.
Yeah.
So if you have 16 to 20 cubes in total, you should be there. You actually start with 12 blue cubes and 8 red ones, white ones. Sorry.
Yeah.
So you are at 20. So this means that you have to spend 4 supplies at the end of the round. So you don't want to run out of supplies because then for every supply you can provide, you lose 1 point of morale. So making sure you have enough supplies is always a good idea.
Okay, and where are my supplies tracked?
So these are these tokens, so on the side.
Oh, yeah.
So you should start with... yes, you're on the right side. You have 8 supplies in the beginning of the game.
Yeah. Okay, so now I'm actually just holding 2 rounds. So actually getting 2 supplies might be a good idea. Yeah, I'm going to do that. A bit more bread.
More bread. So I do...
Joe, what were you doing when I was taking my turn? That's not the fast play you promised me. You're supposed to
Here
be
we
young,
go.
Joe. You're supposed to
go.
be snappy. You're supposed to know what you're doing. And now I see you look like an old Joe. And
I was reading the flavor text actually.
yeah.
I was getting
Of course
absorbed.
you were. Yeah, sure.
Move
All
3
of the
imperial
cards-
units in the main line up to 4 spaces forward.
Yeah, all the cards have flavor text that mention, the actual event that took place, or a small description of the person involved and what they did.
1, 2, 3, 4. How many was it? 3? Yep, so I got one more. And I guess I'll move this one. You know what? Rogue. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bring this guy around now. You don't know what he's doing. He's my secret weapon.
Yeah.
So this is how you start, storming the city and attacking it from multiple points and making the defender's life more difficult. So if I may, Fred, suggest something.
Yeah, go ahead.
Now, it would be a good chance to attack those 2 units here that are on their own.
Yeah.
Because whenever, and this applies to both players, whenever you remove the last unit in an area, you get to either increase your morale or lower your opponent's morale. So whenever, like if I attack an area and I leave it empty, I removed the last unit that was there from my opponent, I can either increase my morale or decrease theirs. So now that there are 2 spaces over there with just the 1 unit in them, perhaps it will be a good opportunity to attack them.
So that was very good from me. I put them on their own on purpose just to demonstrate that rule.
Yeah, and I really appreciate it. You're a great co-host. So I'm gonna attack here with my first action point. Oh no, that's not what I did.
He just flipped it. He's cheating.
Yeah,
he's cheating.
just flipped it. So that's first action point missed. I'm gonna fire again.
Yes.
That's missed. Fire again. Missed. Fire again. Missed. Nice.
You don't roll the die enough. You need to throw it from a greater distance.
That's pretty bad.
What was this? Captain Mahmoud. Form actions. Oh, that's not really worth it.
Yeah, it's not. He played he took advantage of the fact that you don't have any units in the lagoon.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought, well, yeah,
what a
he's not going to do
masterclass
anything
from
with that. Yeah.
I'm going to play.
If I played card-driven games before.
It's time for my
secret
big
weapon.
move. I'm playing it for its event.
You should never have played. Like, if you had even thought about it before, you would know that you never play this card on round 1. You should know that too.
It's time to spend some money.
Have you played a game before? It's embarrassing.
Use up to 4 units in row 4, and each of them performs a +1 attack. So they get a +1 modifier.
Yes. So you can now score with a 7 as well.
This is great news. And can I still pay money to make them better?
So if you were to spend action points, yes, but if you do the event,
okay,
no.
Okay, let's just do this roll then.
Remember, for each attack, you roll both dice.
Yes. I hit a 7 and an 8. So first attack will be this fella here. He's going to attack the cube with the cannon here. So let's give it a roll.
Mistake.
Oh.
Ooh.
Second one.
If the roll is really bad, can we say that something blows up on his face or something like this? No?
Yeah, but no structural damage. They stay healthy. They stay healthy.
Now you have to announce with which unit you are attacking each time, because they can only attack us.
Yes.
Once.
This one will attack here.
Okay.
So let's give it a little roll. That was on 8 for a second, I swear.
Yeah.
This one will go here.
And why does he roll 2 dice? I didn't follow.
So because he has more chances to hit, but lower odds, let's say. So it's more difficult for him to score a hit. But since he has more units, each of his cubes represent 500 men.
Yeah.
So he rolls 2 dice.
So I got a 7. So this unit has attacked and it successfully removed them. Is that correct?
Yes, so you remove the unit there. And since you removed the last unit, the cannon doesn't count as a unit. So you removed the last unit in a space, you get to do a morale change. You can either increase yours or lower your opponent's.
Let's lower, much like I do every time we play games. Fred's morale lowers. And then I've got one last attack, I should say. And I'll attack with this guy into here, because I already attacked with this one, but I'll attack with this one into here. So, it's done it again.
Another 7.
Boom. Sorry, Fred, you're down to 7. That's my turn.
Okay.
Feeling
Nice.
good.
Nice. Now, keep in mind that those 2 spaces, they have cannons, but if they don't have any units on them, the cannons will not fire in the cannon phase. So it should be a good move to move units towards them, and so they can operate.
Yep. I'm going to play the discard for 2 ups. And I'm going to play 1 regroup to go here. And 1 regroup to go here.
Oh, he's good. He's good. I think I will discard a card I can't use to use this event and to increase my morale by 1 and decrease Fred's by 1 further. So now he's only on 6, which is pretty good.
Okay.
Fred, this is your go.
Yep.
This is your second to last card.
Yep. And I'm going to play this card for 3 ups. And with those 3 ups, I am going to attack. This guy is going to attack here first. Failed. He's going to attack again. And that's a success. So this guy dies. 1 means that my morale progresses, or I choose between decreasing.
You can choose. You can either increase your morale or lower your opponent's.
I'm going to increase my morale, so that's 1. And then the other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to attack with him. I'm going to attack here. And that's not a success. Yeah.
So how much supply am I going to need? How many? Do you check how many units I have, right?
So for the imperial player, it's a fixed number, and you can see it on the top of the round track. So you're going to spend 4 money and 8 supplies during the period A. And in period B, because you get some reinforcements, you have more units, you now need more of everything to supply. So you need 6 money every round and 12 supplies.
Okay. I wonder if this is a good play, but I'm going to do it anyway.
It's not a good play.
I think I'm going to do it. I
think it's the worst play you could do.
This card for its event.
Boo.
But I don't know. No, it's not, because you still got another turn. I'll use it for its ops instead.
Okay.
Or its apps, as I should say.
APs.
Action points.
Ups.
Yeah. Ups. And I will... I think I will build a cannon. I take it from the camp.
Yeah, exactly.
And I put it somewhere with a unit. And I have to spend a certain
depends on how many action points you spend. The thing is that in order to build it in row number 6, where you are, now the 3rd row from the wall, you have to spend 3 action points. If you want to build it closer to the wall, you need either 5 or 7 action points. You can also see them on the board. They are written here.
Yeah. And so you could use action points that you had saved in previous rounds, right?
Exactly. So this is one of the reasons to save points if you want to build a cannon closer to the wall. But building it in the 3rd row from the wall is perfectly fine as well.
Okay, we'll put it here, and then with my last app, as it were, I'll put it in the preparation track. So
okay.
And you keep the points that you put in the preparation track from one round to another? Yeah, okay. Good. Then with my last card, I'm going to play this for 3 ups. Wait a minute. Which one was the worst card that I had? No, that was definitely this one. So I'm playing this card for 3 ups. And what I will do is first I'm going to fire at this guy with this guy.
Let's go.
Oh, he's going to fire again. Yes, he's dead. So he goes here. I get 1 more morale, and the remaining action point I'm going to store it here.
Okay.
Such a copycat.
Good. So that's the end of the first round. Yep.
So by the way, your normally you play 7 cards each. However, your last card was a red one, and you are the insurgent player. The Joe still gets a chance. If he wants, he can discard the card in his hand to play that event.
Oh, then in that case, now that I know this, if that's okay, I'm gonna do exactly the same ups. I'm gonna give that.
Oh, so he can take it back. I see.
Yeah, I didn't know that was the rules.
Yeah. So we hadn't mentioned that rule yet. So
I guess it's because it's his channel. He's allowed to just do what he wants. Then
exactly. If you're not happy, you can make your own channel, Joe.
All right. So we now move to the cannons phase, and now that's when the cannons fire. The imperial player goes first, and you choose your cannons 1 by 1, and you get to fire with them. And for each cannon, you roll 2 dice, 6-sided. And since you are on the 6th row, you need to have a result of 6 in order to attack. So you exactly, you mentioned where you want to attack. By the way, if now you are, if you want to attack this base with a cannon, remember what I said before. Right now, you need a 9 with an 8-sided die. However, if you damage it, you can attack it with an 8 as well. Of course, if you damage the section on the right, you can also attack it with a 7. So it's up to you what you want to do.
But I can only roll a 6, right? Is the thing.
What I meant was when you attack with your units. With the cannon is always 4, 5, or 6. So it doesn't matter. However, if the wall is damaged, if you roll a 6 right now and you damage a wall, you get a modifier then in the next round when you attack with your units.
Yes. Okay. So this cannon will fire upon the fort area.
Okay.
And I'll roll. Oh my god!
Snake eyes.
You should like double one. Double one. You should have the double one. You should have the cannons explode. I mean, like and kill 2 units within the same space or adjacent.
This cannon will fire on here.
Okay.
This will surely be more successful. Yes.
It was.
Great. So
it's damaged.
You did 1 damage, so you place 1 token over there.
Here we go. Has a little +1 on it to show that once it's damaged, and then afterwards you would change it to the +2, which is on the other side.
Yeah.
So on the other side, it's a different state, I think. Yeah.
Yes, it's a different state. Although I think in real life you just flip it over.
No, there are states also in real life.
I will shoot with this cannon onto here.
Okay.
Here. So let's give it a roll. Oh.
Well, it's technically a 6, but yeah, not the.
If you say so, Fred, that's your decision. Okay, your
it was that simple.
So how does it go for me? It's also 2d6, and what's the
exactly? Yes, and so once again, you have a
distance +3.
You have a pyramid, like for example, let's say this unit over here. You can attack either of those 2 spaces, and then on the next row 3 spaces, and then on the next one 4 spaces. And the result, it's still the same as the number on the side of each row. Yeah. Like if you want to fire directly in front of the wall, it's easier. So with any result of 4 or higher, you score a hit. If you want to attack further back, you score a hit 5 upward, or with a 6 on the third
Yeah,
row.
sure. But then this cannon is gonna. Oh, and what happens with this cannon?
So this is a cannon that's on this small island of Marmaru, and this can attack these spaces over here. Exactly, the ones that have the cannon symbol. If there were any imperial units over there, you could attack them on a roll of 6. So it's another defensive measure the Greeks had to defend the city on that side.
Okay, but then this cannon is gonna fire here. So on a
Okay,
roll
so you need every 4 or higher is a hit. So if both of the dice roll 4 or higher.
I haven't rolled. I just
He flipped the dice. I saw it.
I haven't rolled yet. So that's 1 hit.
Okay.
So this
So
one
so
goes
convenient.
away. So that's the first one. Then I'm gonna have this cannon here, who's gonna fire here. So here he needs a 5.
Exactly.
And that's a
Yay,
success.
you got it.
Dead, and I can
you
decrease
have a morale
his
change.
morale.
Yes.
Then this one here is
So
gonna.
this one is a special cannon, and it has a +1 bonus, which means it hits on a 3 on the first row, on a 4 on the second row, and on a 5 on the third row.
So actually, this one will fire on those.
Okay, so it will hit with it needs a 4 on its die to.
And that's only a single hit.
He's so lucky.
And then this one is gonna fire here, and he needs a 5.
Yes. Let's see if the spy over there it's
Yes.
Oh, he gets to survive.
Yes, he gets to survive. He avoids the steel bullet. That's pretty nice. Okay, so that's that. So that was my cannon phase, and now we go into replenishment.
Okay, exactly. So we go into the replenishment, and you gain rewards based on the areas on the surrounding map that are under your control. So, for example, the imperial player, you gain 1 supply from here, from Kuria,
Nice.
another supply from Petrohori, and another supply from Krioneri. So you get 3 supplies, and 3 more from Patras, a total of 6 supplies.
So much bread going on right now, guys. It's just too much.
And I would get
you also get another unit from Petrohori.
Oh, does he go
and
to my camp?
You also get a cannon from Patra.
Do these go in my camp? Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes, they go into your camp. Now the insurgent.
So 3 supplies that I took. This is a morale. Right?
You increase your morale.
Yeah.
And
I cannot decrease his morale with this one.
No. You gain 1 morale.
Yeah. And then where do I place this one?
Anywhere you like, on the wall or the islands. You place it wherever you.
Okay, I'm gonna place it here for now.
Over there, Fred.
Yeah, here is good. And that's it.
So effectively, yes, but you also need to
spend supplies now.
Yes, exactly.
So I have 20, so I need to lose 4.
So you need to pay 4 supplies, and then
I'm gonna spend 6 and get a 2 back.
So I'll spend 6, 7, 8. I'm spending.
Just want to say I'm full of bread.
As I said before, if you ever run out of food, of supplies,
you lose morale.
For every supply you cannot provide, you lose 1 morale. And for the imperial player, if they also are unable to pay for their mercenary troops, those troops start abandoning them. So you will start losing red cubes if you cannot pay them.
So So Joe, just for you to know, it's really important that you realize that this was probably your best round. Everything's going to go downhill from there, because my first hand was only your events, meaning that if everything goes well, it means I'm going to have an insanely good hand next round. So that's
you forget that I loaded the mod up, and actually I replaced all your events with more of my events. So it's only red events in there.
That would kind of make sense. So now we draw 7 cards each, right?
Yes. No.
Oh, it's such a good hand, Joe. Woof. Woof.
Yeah, that's a good card.
Oh, Joe. Oh, it's gonna be a bad round. Oh, I almost feel pain for you.
Not if my
Almost.
not if my sand diggers have anything to do about it. My moat diggers.
And maybe something to react to James' comment here, which I think is a quite interesting one. And that's the thing that I really loved about the game the first time that I played it, is that it has these two separate scales, the strategic one and the tactical one, and the fact that you're playing on both sides and how they interact with each other from one round to another. And while you're playing the core of the game, you most of the time don't really think too much about it, especially as a new player. But actually that layer here is actually probably one of the most significant, because it's the one that helps you keep pushing through, which I think is actually quite interesting, and gives the game, at least for me, one of its a very unique flavor, definitely.
Yeah, you need to take into consideration many things happening at once. By the way, we at the end of the round, we forgot to do one thing. So the Greeks, while they were inside the city, they would send people in the temporary capital of Greece at that point to ask for help from the country that was free, from the free part of Greece up to that point. So they would keep asking for help. But initially they were not heard. They were not any help was sent. But the more they were pushing for help, at some point, they decided, okay, let's provide them with some aid. So this is covered in the game. At the end of every round, the insurgent player will roll two d6, yes, 2 6-sided dice. So you need to roll a 12 in order to get
one more pressure.
Yes, but you didn't. However, you get to move this marker over here, this token on. Sorry, have this one, and so you move it forward, and this is a modifier to your next roll.
Yeah,
you actually. Okay. Yeah, so every round it's going to be slightly easier to get
some support.
To ask for support, so it's easier. And the Imperial player has something similar, which he doesn't do it automatically at the end of the round, but he can do it during his one of his turns. He can ask for money from the High Porte, so he goes to the Sultan and asks, "Hey, I want some money to help the cause," and he works the exact opposite way. If he rolls lower than 12, he gets the money, but the token moves 2 spaces forward, and this adds to his roll next time he does it. So the more he asks for money from the High Porte, the more difficult it becomes to get that money.
Yeah. Okay, but I guess should we go into
the player who starts as first player in
the one with the highest morale? So that's that's going to be
So next round. Yeah.
I see. My guys are just so amped up for this. Crazy. So I got to move units up to 5. Let's move some at the camp. So how do you go about moving cannons?
So you don't move them. Whenever you build them, they stay where they're built. Yes. So under normal conditions, every round you get a new cannon from Patra, that's supplying you with a new cannon every round. There is actually a card that has an effect that allows you to move one, but normally you cannot move your cannons. They have to stay where they are.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Fred's not being very realistic now. He's eating, and I believe the people in the city didn't have as much food as the people who are on the outside. So he really shouldn't be eating right now, but that's fine.
Don't do. We have a lot of supplies.
Okay.
So he actually controls the sea. So there are a lot of boats coming in from the lagoon, providing supplies. So it's your fault that you left the lagoon open. So sorry.
That's a good point, actually. That's 1, 2, 3.
Exactly. Yeah, we have the opening phase where you move 5 units forward, and then the insurgent can move one of his.
Look at him go. He's going to do it.
So the thing is, you cannot climb the walls as they are right now. You can only climb the walls if they are destroyed.
Yes.
Not damaged, destroyed. So that's why you need to build cannons, and the more you build, the better. And that's why you try to,
Can he move on subsequent turns?
So in order to move to the lagoon, you can only move from some specific spaces. So where he is right now, he cannot move in the lagoon. You need to be in row 7 or 8. That's what this line means. It's how the unit moves. And the island of Klisova has 2 rings, let's say, outside. So you first move to the outer ring, then to the inner ring, and then to the then you can move onto the island if there is no unit there.
Yeah.
There is also a limit in the space. So the outer ring has the normal limit of 3 units, but if you move to the inner ring, it has a limit of 1 unit per space. So that's why it's hard to reach the beach from the lagoon.
Yeah.
It's a much slower process, but it can be very effective.
Okay, so I did my 5 movement. Now it's time to play a card. I'm going to play.
Did Fred move his 1 unit?
So I don't think I will. I think I'm happy
with
the
cake.
Yeah.
Okay, I will play.
Or maybe actually. I think I will, because I actually have a good reason to leave this, because he cannot climb the wall yet, right?
No, he cannot climb it. But remember that if you have a single unit in its space, if he kills it, he gets a morale, or you lose a morale. So it's good to have pairs of units.
Yeah, but that's why I'm thinking this unit alone is probably going to be better off here than on a broken wall.
Okay. Great.
Okay. So now I'll play my card. I'll play a insurgent for the action points.
An equal share of money.
And we will. There's no limit to. I can do like normal movement twice, or preparation twice, or.
Yeah. No, there's no.
Okay.
Restriction.
I will add support here. 2. And then I'll spend my 1 that I saved from last round to add another support.
So yeah, you cannot do that second part, because in order to be able to use the preparation points, you must be unable to perform the action with the card that you played. So since the card was worth 3 action points, you were able to do support, so you cannot spend it there.
I see. In which case, I will use the other action point.
So I didn't really understand that, Vangelis.
Yeah, this is actually probably the most confusing rule in the game, to be honest. But so the preparation points, the ones that you store for future use, you're only allowed to use them if they help you do something you were unable to do with the card that you played.
Oh, and so he was able to do it with the first one.
Exactly. Okay. So he was able to do support with a 3 action point card. So that's why he's not allowed to do it. If, for example, he played this card and he wanted to do an action that cost like 4 action points, of course he would be able to use it. Or he could play a 4 action point card to build a cannon closer to the wall that requires 5 action points.
Okay.
Okay, I will... in this case, I will use the...
You can always attack.
Yeah, but I want to break down these... I want to tear down these walls, you know?
It's good to put pressure on him because... Or you can move units. You can start moving units, closer to the wall. For example, with a single action point, you could move these 2 cubes 1 space forward so that they will be kind of protected. It will be 2 of them, or 2,
let's
from
do
here. Because you want to keep applying pressure at him. Because you may say like, oh no, the odds are small, there's no point in me attacking. But if you don't put pressure on him, he's going to use his action points on support, on getting better defenses, getting more units. So you want to be constantly pressing him. You need to be constantly a constant threat to him.
Okay, so I'm gonna play this card to activate the event. So -1 money to the Empire. And is this money? Yeah. The one that looks like weird eggs. Yeah. So that's -1, and then I'll remove a single unit from a space. I'm gonna remove that.
No, that's my boy.
And I'm gonna decrease your morale by 1.
Oh my gosh.
Actually, no. You only reduce the morale if
I attack?
due to an attack, or a cannon or a raid.
Then
That was.
then in that case, I'm removing this.
Oh, he lives. He was here.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, put him here. I'm fine with that.
One day he'll make it within the city.
He just wants a good life, you know.
Back to you, Joe.
Okay, I will.
Joe, come on.
Yes.
Where are you playing?
Actually, I've changed my mind.
You changed your mind.
Oh no, I play actually.
Okay.
I'm gonna do it to.
I like that.
Oh, good effect.
And then we're going to do it to.
So with 4 action points, you could actually flip one of the tiles.
Yes.
If you wanted that, I mean.
I put 1 in here. I think I'll just remove this one as the second one. Go for it.
Yep.
So you spent all 4 action points on that. There were 2 tokens there, or
no, he did 1 on another one.
He did 1 on here, 1 on here.
Oh, okay. So sorry, I didn't see the first one. Yeah, great.
And then I'm playing this to actually trigger that event, and I'm going to remove those 3 supplies from the Empire.
Okay, so your supplies keep getting fewer and fewer. Someone is going to have a problem soon. I don't know who. Just
right. I'm going to need to get supplies at some point. And money, but I'm not sure. Okay. Let's look at the. Let's go and
now, who has all the blue cards now?
Yeah. I mean, my big 4s they're so good, right? I'm gonna flip it.
Okay. So one less morale for you, Fred.
Well,
and 1 more unit for Joe at the end of the round.
Yeah.
It's up to you to take it back, you know.
It's not. Yeah, I can. Yeah, actually, I'm gonna activate this, strengthen my my support at sea.
Okay.
A tough one.
2, and then +1 morale for me, -1 morale for him.
What's the morale looking like? It's fine. Then I'm gonna play reinforcements for the event and get 1 support in 2 areas I control.
Someone is focusing on the upper map.
Yep.
So I had a friend whisper in my ear. Chat. Thank you, James.
So I'm gonna play this for the event. I'm gonna fire each of my cannons.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
So they are gonna fire here.
All right.
Oh, here you go.
Yeah, thanks. So that's 2 hits.
Oh, both units go away.
Yeah, that's -1 morale. He's going to fire here.
You can also fire here. If you
like.
like.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. That's perfectly fine. I need to roll a 5 to kill it. And that's
easier said than done.
Yeah. And he's going to fire here.
Okay, he hits with a 3.
Yeah, he hits with a 3. Yeah, well, he's super dead. That's -1 morale. And then 1, 2. So he has to fire. Yeah, he has to succeed on a 6. Whoever he's firing at.
Yeah.
So he's gonna fire here.
Okay. Here you go. Double sixes.
Yeah, that would be perfect, but no,
Yeah.
no double 6s, and that's it for me.
Okay. That was a good card. A good turn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the morale of the emperor, the imperial, is not great.
It's starting to drop.
We will
He plays the long game.
Yeah.
Right.
going to use my action points. I have 3 of them, and I'm going to build a cannon.
Okay, good move. You need to have a unit.
You need to have a unit there.
Oh,
yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. Then I'm gonna play this for the event. So 1 support in 2 areas controlled by the Empire and -2 to the. So I'm gonna remove 1 from here.
So this was the famous hero that I mentioned in the beginning of our video, Georgios Karaishakis. He's a very famous hero of the Greek War of Independence, and he was the one that fell ill and wasn't able to help during the sortie near the end of the siege.
Yeah, maybe one small comment for you, Joe, to see.
So the morale keeps getting lower and lower.
Yeah, but
So he would constantly do, like he would ambush the Ottomans behind the ranks, and that's why he drops the morale, because he keeps doing damage in the camp of the Ottomans, and he would cause a lot of let's say mayhem, damage, chaos, and they were very afraid of him.
so we're going to move a cannon forward, and with 1 unit. I believe that's what it says, right?
So that was the card I was talking about before.
And so the unit's going to come with him, like so. You go for it.
Yeah, I'm gonna play 2 for support, and I'm gonna remove that support here.
Okay. Worth doing this. The support back. That would be a troop. Sure. Time to support. You go.
In that case, what I will do is I will play this for the event. So how does this +1 pressure for the government to help? How do I? So it's just moving this 1 1.
Yeah, you just move it 1 space forward, so you have a +1 to the modifier.
Okay. Great, but then that ends the round.
Mm-hmm. So we move to the cannons phase.
Yep.
And once again, the Imperial player goes first. He fires his cannons.
Yeah.
So 1 by 1, you choose which cannons you want to fire and
so
where.
Fire this cannon first. And this cannon, can it hit here?
Yes.
Yes,
so,
you can. Yeah.
And then here. Yeah. So we'll fire there with the black dice. Here we are.
No, that's a good one.
So you damaged the.
Damaged. Yes.
Nice.
And we'll put this one onto. So it's still a 6 to hit like the 4 area, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll hit this big purple cannon then.
Okay.
We can try.
Oh.
Oh, it does work. Nice.
Best cannon shooters in the land. Right, and then we'll
So-
go.
The wall starts looking more like a Swiss cheese as time
Yeah.
goes by.
Ottoman cheese, baby. Let's go. This one is going to shoot. So if I was to attack with this one here, would that then break the wall?
Put it at +2.
If it hits, yes, you turn the token the other way around, and the wall is destroyed. And you can also climb the wall.
Oh, let's do that then.
Unless, of course, he repairs it, because
unless I repair it, with 4 APs.
I heard they were pretty bad repairs, so it's not going to happen. We're going to go and do that. Let's go.
It's a fail.
So close.
Ooh. And then this one will also attack that. Then. So because it's closer, is it different thing? Or
Yeah. So it hits with a 5. And
oh,
6.
this would have been so good. What can you do though? Yes.
Okay.
Puts it at 2.
Okay, so you have a destroyed section of the wall.
Nice.
So
now it's back to me. So this cannon has nothing to shoot at.
Okay.
So I think he's gonna fire at him.
Okay, but it's harder, So you need the
only on a
6.
6. Yeah. And it doesn't work. He's gonna fire here, so that's gonna be on a 5. That's also a failure. And 1, 2, 3. I think he's gonna fire here. This one.
He needs a 5. Yes.
Yeah, he needs 5s. Oof.
Oh, that's a very good roll.
And what happens with the remaining cannon?
Now, so the cannon remains there. If there was like an extra hit,
Yeah.
you could remove the cannon as well. But now you just remove the 2 cubes.
Does it mean
If it was,
he doesn't lose the morale then?
he loses the morale because the morale is lost depending on the units. So and the cannons are not units. So
nice. Meaning that would this one could try to fire at the cannon and on a 6 will destroy it?
yes.
I think I'm gonna try that. I think
you'd be a
that
fool to try that.
yeah, the
Don't
chance
try it, Fred.
to destroy a cannon could be nice. And it does destroy the cannon.
That's a
I
nice.
don't want to play this game anymore.
And we're getting to the end of the stream anyway. We're gonna resolve the end of round. And it's probably for the best because even though I have a hole here, I think I'm gonna wipe you out. So now we go into the replenishment phase.
Yeah, so you get based on the regions you control here. Yeah. So you get the imperial player will get same as before, 6 supplies and 1 new cannon and 2 units because he also has Anatolian Conrad now.
I can strike my cannon down and it will come twice as strong, Fred.
Something like that. Yeah. And the insurgent player gains 3 food, 3 supplies, and 1 new unit.
Yeah, and 1 unit, and I already added it to the breach wall here.
Okay.
Good. And then I need to spend food.
By the way, have you counted your units to see how many you have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, plus 8, 20. Okay.
I should be just on 20. Yeah.
Yeah. So you still lose only 4.
Yeah. So I'm on 4. I spend this, and I'm still full of bread. Look at all this bread. Oof. It's almost too much. I feel like we have more food since we started the siege than before. Joe, don't want to. Yeah, maybe leaving the
invite me over for lunch or something.
Leaving the sea open is maybe not the best way to make a siege. I'm not an expert or anything, but I feel like something is missing. Just food for thoughts.
You missed one thing, Fred. This guy right here.
ready to come in. Yeah.
He's going to be your downfall.
So we reduce the supplies, and now we check the pressure for the government. So I have a +2, so now I need to roll a 10.
Exactly.
And what happens if I succeed?
So if you succeed, you get a lot of new stuff. Don't remember them all by heart. So
I get 6 supplies, 2 units within the city, and +2 morale. Then I remove them all. Okay,
yeah.
Okay, so let's see if I manage to do it. And no, I don't have an 8. It's not
Close,
enough.
but yeah, now you need 9 or higher for the next
9
round.
of higher seems probably feasible.
And if it happens, does this reset to 0, or is that doesn't always?
You cannot do it twice in the game, so if it
So
happens,
then it's done. Yeah.
You remove the token afterwards. Yeah.
Okay.
Right, but that would be the end of round 2, and then we'll go to round 3. Do the same thing.
Yes.
Maybe
You
just
draw your
before.
cards.
Yeah.
By the
just
way,
before we end because we're getting close to the end. So now I actually have the initiative because I have a better morale.
That's what I was about to say. So you now have a higher morale, so you get to play first.
And what would have happened at the end of round 3 when we went from one to the other? Something special happened for the Imperial change, right?
So the Ottoman Empire sent another let's say general to help with the siege, because the months kept passing by and the city would not fall. And so Ibrahim Pasha joins the siege, and he brings with him a lot of Egyptian units, which are the green cubes you can see on the side of the board here. So about 10 of those join the board, and so you get 10 allied units in the mainland area. You also get 5 more green cubes in the camp as reserve units, let's say. He gets 6 supplies. He gets 8 more money. He gets his plea track, the track over there where he asks for money, moves 4 spaces forward because he got a lot of help. And he also gets support at sea from, let's see, I'm not so, yeah, for immediate support at the sea. So right now you have like 4 tokens over here. They would all go away. Because Ibrahim Pasha came with his navy as well, and he made a blockade, and so no more supplies could come from the sea. So he made life much more difficult for the insurgents. However, since the army was now larger, there were more expenses for the imperial side as well. So in second period, the imperial player will have to spend 6 money and 12 supplies for each round. So that's a lot of supplies. And
he loses, for example, morale at the end of each round, right? Also.
Yeah. So as the siege goes on, if you end the 4th round and the city has not fallen yet, he loses 1 morale. And once again, at the end of the 5th round, he will lose another morale. And if he doesn't have any supplies to provide to his units, he will once again lose morale. And if he doesn't have money to give to his units to pay them, he will lose units and he will also lose morale. And so it's it can easily, fall into a downward spiral for the imperial player if he's not careful.
And I feel like Joe was aiming for a downward spiral anyway. That's kind of the feeling that I got from him. That was the vibe. You had a downward spiral vibe, Joe. I don't know how you feel about it, but it didn't look good.
That's hogwash, and it's a very mean thing to say to such a loyal and strong army,
The morale was pretty low already. They were at 9. After how much time is each round, Vangelis, in the game? Is it like 2 months?
Yeah, 2 months.
Yeah. So after 4 months of siege, my people were happier in siege, better fed than before the siege. Makes you think. And I had actually, you lost the cannon. I wiped most of your army. I must admit that this lonely guy on the side I was a bit worried about, because it was like, it looks like he has a plan, but he also looked like he was a bit dumb. So I'm not sure.
I don't know. I think
but you're also forgetting you have a pretty big hole in your wall.
That's fine. That's fine, Vangelis. I think holes in walls is actually a trap. Like I was waiting for them to come in so I could kill them better. So that was the whole strategy.
Part of your strategy. Yeah.
I was playing 4D chess. So that's the whole thing.
So the thing is that in the actual siege, around the time, near the end of the first period, the morale was pretty high for the defenders because they were saying that, hey, we can do this, we can hold on our own. And so it's actually thematic what happens here. So by the end of the first period, the defenders, the Greeks, were in a good position. However, the arrival of Ibrahim really changed the tide.
Dynamic.
Yeah, and it became much harder. And the irony was that Ibrahim himself, when he saw the wall, he said, come on, you can't take this fence like this. It's very easy to take the city. I mean, why haven't you taken it yet? And initially he tried to, with his own forces, to break the wall, but he also saw that it was very difficult to break the defenses. And after a while, the Egyptian units with the Ottoman units, they started to work together because initially they were, there was a lot of ego there and they were not cooperating very well. But after a while, they started working together. They made a big attempt to get inside the city from the lagoon near the end of the siege, like on 25th of March. They tried to enter through the lagoon, and there was a very big battle at the island of Klisova. And with around 100 Greeks managed to stand against about 6,000 Ottoman units on that small island. So it was very impressive. But this was just a few weeks before the end of the siege, because the Greeks they didn't have any supplies, they couldn't take it anymore. So the rest is what I mentioned before. They did the sortie, and that's how the siege ended.
Had we finished the game, Fred would be crying right now, is what I'm hearing.
I'm not sure. That's not really what I heard. But what I heard is that if you want it to be historical, you would have to play slightly better, and maybe we'll have a. but we can resolve that. So if you had fun, Joe, I can maybe bring the box, because I'm spending the weekend at Joe's, so I can bring the box that that James lent me. So he lent me the first version of the game, and then I can bring him back so we can have a full game. But by the way, Vangelis, I was wondering, what are the big differences between the first and the second printing? Are there any differences with this new edition?
The board has better contrast, the colors. There were some improvements there. There were some minor clarifications on a few of the cards and in the rule book. So there weren't any major changes between the editions.
So it's really a second printing. It's
mostly really, aesthetic differences and a clarification here and there on the cards.
Okay. Yeah, great. But it was great to have you with us this afternoon, Vangelis. Thanks.
It was great for me as well. I had a great time.
For coming over. I'm happy that you had a good time. Really fun game. I would like to play a full game again, Joe. We didn't really have time, but it was a good way to actually show the gameplay overall. I think so. The flow of the game, so it was great. For the people who are watching, I hope you had fun. Thanks for being there with us this afternoon, even though it's really early compared to what we usually do. But quite a few of you were here, so that was nice. And if you're watching this after the fact, I would probably have added time codes in the description or stuff like this. But it was awesome. Thanks again for Vangelis. Thanks, Joe, for being here. And to those of us, to those of you who are watching, I don't know what's coming up next. We might do a pajama stream on Friday morning with Stuart. I will have to confirm. But if we do, we will be playing Antietam. And very soon, probably tomorrow, there is the preview of Pack Spinning that is going to be released. So if you're interested in Pack Spinning, the next game of Matilda, who made Turncoats, keep an eye on the channel, subscribe, support, comment, donate on Coffee and all that. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Have a great time.
And